Hi, thank you for clicking on the video and I hope everyone is doing really well. I would refer to myself as a former physical anorexic. However, I still deal with anorexic thoughts on a daily basis. I have come a long way from my days when I would go 24, 36, 48 hours without eating. Now I can't even imagine going one day without eating at least something. I have days where I come home from work and it's real late and I think to myself, yeah, I could just go to bed and go to sleep and that'd be it. But then I remind myself that, hey, you probably haven't eaten anything today. You probably should. And then I eat something. It's a learning thing. You have to learn that even when you don't feel like eating, you have to eat, especially when you know you haven't eaten all day. You have to eat every single day, at least something to start out when you're trying to recover. It's little steps and it's little progressions that really go a long way. I used to complain that I didn't have an appetite, and this was a very sad thing for me. Growing up, cooking and baking were things that I really enjoyed. They were a way for me to de-stress and just be creative, and I loved coming up with new ideas and just throwing things together and cooking for my family even when I was very, very young. So I always had a very imaginative appetite, I would say, because I was always putting things that might not typically go together, but somehow I would make them work, and it was a talent that I really took pride in. So when I lost my appetite, I lost that creativity. I couldn't think and come up with ideas. I couldn't even put things together that sounded good to me because I had no desire, my taste buds had no desire to eat. I had no desire to eat. So I lost my appetite, and that's a kind of very, very scary thing to lose. The reason why I lost my appetite is a learned habit. And what I mean by that is when you go for a long period of time without eating, or eating very little, or eating the same things over and over again, your brain and your body learn that as a pattern. It suppresses your appetite. It actually diminishes your body's ability to have cravings for things. So to counter that, you kind of have to kickstart your appetite by forcing yourself out of that forced habit of starvation and force yourself into eating those foods that you were avoiding before, or foods you know you used to like, and from there your body's going to start to want those foods more. The more you eat something, the more you crave it, and vice versa. The less you eat something, the less you're going to crave it. It's a learned habit, and your body and your taste buds have a memory. So let your taste buds taste the things that are good. Taste buds want that, and that way you'll redevelop your appetite. So the takeaway from that is, if you feel like you don't have much of an appetite, eat something that you know you like. Even if you're not craving it, even if it doesn't sound like you want it now or that you like it now, eat something that you know that you liked in the past. And try eating it often throughout the day, so more than once. Or every couple of days, eat that thing. It'll help to wake up your taste buds and refresh your appetite. When I was fully submerged into my anorexia, I had a friend. My friend was anorexia, and it was my best friend. However, I had this friend that was secretly trying to kill me. But I had no idea of the eating disorder's ulterior motive. Even though all the signs were there, they were obviously there, but I was so blinded by the comfort and the safety that I felt in anorexia that I couldn't see that this friend was trying to murder me from the inside out. Even though my body and my mind were completely falling apart, the eating disorder convinced me that I was invincible. It isolated me from everyone and anything that would try to save me, would try to be my true friend, would try to support me and try to encourage me to be better. The eating disorder took that away from me, or rather I walked away from those things. It convinced me I didn't need those people. I didn't need love from them. I had the eating disorder, and that's all I ever needed. And then the eating disorder would trick me after I'd isolated me from all the loving people in my life. It would talk to me like, see, you're strong without those people. See, those people abandoned you. Even though it was me abandoning myself by isolating myself from those people. But the eating disorder twisted it and made me feel like those people didn't understand me. They couldn't understand me. They don't want to help me. And like they were stabbing me in the back when it was really just me walking myself away from people who were trying to help me. I was 100% certain that I was not sick. I was beyond delusional. Anorexia reprogrammed me overnight. It was an overnight kind of switch in my brain. And all of a sudden I was doing things and I didn't know why. All I knew was that I had to. Like my brain was just telling me to do these repetitive, tedious tasks and all of these things that I just didn't know why. But my brain, all of a sudden, it's like I woke up with a new brain telling me to do all these self-detrimental behaviors and things, but I was convinced that it was right and that if I didn't do these things, what was going to happen if I didn't? It was almost like this was my nature, and by going against my nature, that was unnatural and something bad would happen, even though I didn't know where these thoughts or these commands were coming from. It was just like I said, I was reprogrammed. I had a very strict and structured exercise routine. I felt if I missed a day or if I felt like I was slacking off while doing the exercise routine, like I wasn't putting my all into it, I was convinced something bad was going to happen. Maybe not to me, but something bad was going to happen. What that bad thing was, I don't know. I still don't know what that bad thing was going to be, but I was just so on edge that I just felt like if I don't do this and if I don't do it perfectly and if I miss a day, just like the whole world is going to end. Like this was my all. I had to do it and I didn't know why I had to do it. Same thing goes for calories. If I went over my allotted calories for the day, oh my God, I was just beyond torn up. Like I didn't know what to do with myself because I was just so certain like this was it. Like all hell was gonna break loose because I ate 1,001 calories. That one extra calorie is just going to like destroy my life. Like, but I didn't know in what way destruction was going to come. Like it was completely ridiculous of me to think this way. It was insane for me to think this way. I always calculated my total of calories at the end of the day. I never did it as I went through the day. I did it at the very end so that I would have this big number thrown at me. And of course, if it was more than I was hoping for, I was an automatic failure. I was a slave to the eating disorder, and I will admit I still am a glutton for punishment. But over the years, my punishment has changed dramatically in all different ways. Not only was I punishing my body with not eating and over-exercising, I had a very, very special way of punishing myself when I ate too much. And it was in the form of beautiful, beautiful carvings into my very own body. I always thought people who cut themselves were a little pathetic. So, I mean, even having an eating disorder, I never thought I would. So thinking that cutters are pathetic little babies, I wouldn't think myself to become one. In the past, just the very thought of why would you cut yourself? Like, why would you cut your own skin? Like, that just doesn't make sense. Of course, the very first time I did it, it was an accident. And from there, it was like a sigh of relief. And so I didn't do it all the time until the eating disorder took full hold. And so every night when I calculated my calories, if it was more than the number that I had told myself I could have that day, I would cut into my stomach, and I would, I can't remember if it was for every 10 calories over or something was a cut. I never used knives because that freaked me out. One time I did use a pair of scissors, and oh my God, I sliced from here to here with a pair of scissors, and oh my God, that was like the one time I actually felt the cutting, because there were so many times where I didn't feel it because I was so numb. Oh, that's so cliche. But so that was the one time that it really, I mean, it stung, and I never did use scissors after that. However, what I did use, this is so stupid. I had a kaleidoscope, and in a kaleidoscope there are metal strips that are almost mirror-like. And so I broke the kaleidoscope and took out those metal strips, and they come to very sharp points. I mean, they're like rectangular pieces of metal, and that is what I used. And it got to the point that I no longer like one cut for every 10 calories over. No, it turned into, I would take, let's say this is my stomach, and I would take the blade or the piece of metal, and I would just go like this continuously until it would just be like trickles of blood in my stomach. And of course I would carve the ever so stereotypical word fat into my stomach. And I mean, I just felt like this is what I deserved, because I was a failure. I couldn't stick to my rules. I couldn't achieve my goals of sticking to my rules. Like, my rules were everything, and if I deterred from them in any way, it was just like another cut, and it was another slash into me. And it just, that is what I did to myself. I wasn't just destroying my body. Like, cutting and anorexia and eating disorders and all these things, it just destroys your brain and your willpower. I was taught from a very young age to view being fat as ugly. Ugly and fat were equal to each other. And of course, ugly is bad, fat is bad. So if you overeat, this equals becoming fat. So in my mind, if I got anywhere close to being fat, I might as well make myself ugly. And that is what I did with self-mutilation. I completely forgot who I was, because I was completely taken over by this new personality that showed up. It was like living in a dream state. I was going through life, just going through the motions. I was literally walking around a shell of a human. I had no life. I had no spark. I had nothing that made me me. Having anorexia is exhausting. Not just in the sense of you have absolutely no energy, but you are constantly putting yourself down. And that takes a toll on your energy levels when you are completely down on yourself. You never have a nice thing to say about yourself. You are the bottom tier in your eyes. You are the scum of the earth, and you are the lowest of the low. When you are continuously telling yourself these things, it takes everything out of you. All will, all motivation, everything is just gone, because your life is dedicated to destroying your life. Counting calories is such a tedious task. It's just as exhausting as putting yourself down. It takes everything. It's like the little bit of mind power that you have puts towards calculating that total number. It's exhausting to have everyone around you making comments, commenting on your body, commenting on what you ate, how little you ate, when you ate, people watching you, like studying you. It's invasive, and it's exhausting, to say the least. It takes a lot to have to ignore all that and to push their concern away. They want to show you love, and they want to show you support and encouragement, and you are denying that when you ignore them and when you tell them you're fine, when you lie to them. You are not only denying them the ability to love you, you are denying yourself love from them. And when you accept love from other people, it's an act of self-love as well. So it's exhausting fighting other people and fighting your true self and fighting the ability and the want to be healthy and to be happy. That's the one thing. It takes all your energy because you are fighting happiness. You're fighting your own ability to make yourself happy. I remember when I would wake up like every morning, all I wanted to do was stay in bed. I just wanted to sleep all day. I never wanted to wake up. I never wanted to see sunlight. I never wanted to see people. I just wanted to stay in bed all day and sleep and sleep and sleep. I remember one time thinking to myself, I could literally sleep for years. That would make me happy, just not having to be around people, not having to wake up. I could just sleep forever. But I wouldn't let myself rest. I would force myself up and I would start the day and I would go through the day. And I remember the minute I would get myself out of bed, I just had to step out of bed and suddenly I was awake. I had energy. I was ready to go. So I would just go, but I was running on empty and my energy was coming from my obsession with the eating disorder. Being anorexic is boring. Only have yourself to hang out with and talk to. You have isolated yourself from the world. You don't have anyone to trust. You don't even trust yourself. And on top of that, you're doing the same things and eating the same things every single day. You're going through the same schedule, the same routine. It's all just a bunch of sameness. There's no spontaneity. There's no adventure. There's nothing exciting about it. I did the same thing every single day. And I ate the same 3 foods every single day. My life had no variety, but I was comfortable in my ways, and the idea of change scared me to death. I was striving to be perfect and to be special, but never actually reaching those goals because, let's face it, perfection is impossible, and at the end of the day, no one is actually special. Being gullible is no one's goal in life, but anorexia makes you gullible. It turns you into a gullible coward, someone who can't stand up for themselves, who listens and believes everything the eating disorder tells them. But honestly, you have a voice, so use it. Use it to shout back at the eating disorder. Tell it to shut up. Tell it to go away. Fight back. Like I said, no one wants to be gullible. No one wants to be seen as gullible. So when the eating disorder turns you into something that you don't want to be, you fight your hardest to become the thing that you want to be. Anorexia turned me into an incredibly caring person. Caring for everyone else, but never for myself. Anorexia makes you completely and totally alone. I couldn't even turn to myself because I was completely swallowed up by this disease. So when an eating disorder convinces you or tells you to do things, you do the opposite. If the eating disorder tells you that you can only eat 1,000 calories, you eat 2,000 or you eat 1,500. You do the opposite. If the eating disorder tells you to work out for 2 hours, work out for 1 hour. The eating disorder tells you that cinnamon rolls are evil and bad, you eat the freaking cinnamon roll. You just eat it and you enjoy it and you laugh at the eating disorder when it tells you you don't like that, or that's a bad food. You laugh at it and say, nope, not only am I going to eat that food, I'm going to enjoy it, and I am not going to worry about the consequences or the bad things that are going to happen, because there are no bad things. When the eating disorder tells you that you are alone, you go find people, go find your friends, go find your family, surround yourself with people. When you have people talking to you, when you have physical voices speaking to you from love and support and encouragement and just having fun with these people, the louder they are, the quieter the eating disorder gets. So surround yourself with people and do the things that the eating disorder tells you not to do, because the eating disorder does not have your best intentions at heart. It does not. And it doesn't care about you. It doesn't love you. It doesn't want good things for you. It wants to destroy you. And you, at the end of the day, have the power. You might feel like you are powerless to the eating disorder, but you have the power. At the end of the day, you hold the power to fight back and to tell that eating disorder that you stand alone from the eating disorder. It's like, nice knowing you, but get out. And that's what you tell the eating disorder every single day. All right, thank you so much for clicking on the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, and if you did like it, please give this video a thumbs up. For more videos like this one and other videos about other eating disorders and diets and nutrition and all that fun stuff, please subscribe to this channel. Feel free to leave a comment if you have a question or your own suggestions or advice or anything like that. Feel free to leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Bye!